Hey guys, ArcliteTankSC here, and I will be casting a game for YouTube. Finally, I've been doing a lot of live stuff, but finally back to YouTube. And this game will be between our red Zerg at the 12 o'clock. I guess his name is Lord. I'm not sure which part is the clan tag and which part is the actual name, but it looks like MYMXlorD, or maybe Lord is the name. I haven't researched these players, so I guess I'm just kind of diving into this because it got such a great review on GoToGamers. And at about the 3 o'clock position, we do have KiWi as our blue Protoss, and this is on Metalopolis. So, before we actually get into this game, while we're in this boring expository beginning part, I want to ask you guys what you think about maybe doing some kind of Let's Plays for Minecraft. I would make it kind of interactive, but I'm kind of thinking about doing that because I've been kind of playing a lot of Minecraft lately because I've been sick, and, you know, when you're sick, StarCraft really doesn't feel like the game to play. But it is fun to cast it because you're not worrying about microing stuff and keeping your APM up and all that stuff. So, it looks like both the players are kind of chatting. I'm just not going to pay attention to that because that will just distract me. But, let's start talking about this game. There is a short distance between these two players because they did spawn right next to each other on this map. So, it looks like there may be a slight advantage to Lord in his scouting because he may be able to tag this Nexus without the Nexus seeing him back. So, let's head over to his view and see if we can get a look at this while he tries to tag this. Normally, we'll see players kind of microing at it, and he is going to see the Nexus, and he's actually going to turn around, and KiWi is not going to see that Overlord because the Overlord does have a slightly longer vision range than the Nexus does. So he can kind of see that and then get out of there as quick as he can and deny that advantage to his opponent, so his opponent doesn't know where he is yet. And KiWi, because of that Overlord, the masterful use of it, he's going to send his scout out to the wrong base first. But it looks like there's a good pylon from KiWi, at least. It just barely touches the edges of his ramp, and that's perfect because that allows you to build pretty much freely. And most importantly, in the beta and early stages, Protoss players put these pylons right up on the front of their ramp, and, you know, Zergs or Terrans would just come up with their range units and just pick them off and shut down all the gateways or supply block. So keeping it back is definitely vital, especially if you're a new player. That's something you really need to do if you play Protoss. And it looks like he's going to put down his first gateway at 13 supply, but back in the Zerg base, the beginning is definitely a little bit more important for a Zerg. It looks like he is at 13 supply. He went gas, so it looks like most likely we're going to see a 14 gas, 14 spawning pool, which is normally what we see when they start doing stuff at 14 supply. Which it looks like he's reaching the money right now, so we should see it. I'm sorry about the frame rate. I do not know what it is. It may be with Fraps trying to just throw everything out very quickly. It may also be that I'm recording the audio on the same computer, or it might just be that my computer needs an upgrade. But I do need $500 just about to do an upgrade, which I do not have that money. And it looks like in a simulator is going down, so very good. He can definitely use that because that'll allow him to get out units like sentries, and we see that very standard Protoss play. Nothing cheesy going for that assimilator, and nothing cheesy with the time, really. Lord with a good Overlord Scout, he's going to be able to see units coming into his base. A lot of Zerg players like to have that so that they can have just a little bit more reaction time. It looks like KiWi Scout is finally going to show up, but, you know, KiWi did get a probe scout out, and it is later, but I'm surprised that Lord did not send one because he can get a lot better scouting with the probe than he can with the Overlord. And it looks like KiWi Scout just going around. It looks like he may try and catch up to this drone just to block the expansion, which it looks like he's not going to be successful. And it looks like that actually is a scout, not going for the expansion. And that's definitely what you want to do when you do 14 pool, 14 hatch, is get a few Zerglings, get that little buffer, and then maybe go for the expansion. But KiWi is going to keep his probe there because he definitely wants to block that. He wants to be able to take an economic advantage or at least keep it on one base. So, basically what I've heard about this game is it is incredibly awesome. So, it will probably not just be a one-base game. I'm just kind of guessing that. I'm not looking at the time. Or it will be an incredibly epic one-base game. So, look, this is really interesting. You see KiWi, you see that blue ring around his probe that keeps picking up. That's basically him tagging it and moving his camera over there to get a look, constantly monitoring the probe, and that's where the APM goes. When you kind of think about it, at first, the first impression is APM is useless, but when they're doing stuff like that, pinging back and forth between his Nexus and that probe, he is going to be able to see when something happens to that probe, so Definitely useful there, and he's also able to check the progress on his next probe so that he can keep them building. So basically, he can micro this unit as effectively as a bronze player could, but he can also micro or macro his base a lot better than even like Diamond could, just switching back and forth. And it looks like Lord did go for the gas deal, so I should have probably commented on this earlier rather than where the APM goes, and that is going to restrict KiWiKaKi. He's going to have less sentries. He's going to have less stalkers if he goes for multi-gate, and he's going to have a lot harder of a time otherwise with units that are essential, that are pretty gas essential. And it looks like there's also an expansion for Lord, so expansion is very good. He doesn't have very many drones now. Maybe he should drone up for a little, seeing there's not going to be that great of an threat from his opponent, and he is also off gas, just going for speed very quickly there. But the expansion is very good, especially holding his opponent back. His opponent has to get his gas quickly, and his opponent isn't going to be able to mass an army as quickly. So he's not going to be able to go for his base as early as Lord. So Lord is a very good player so far from what I have seen in this game. I'm surprised I haven't heard of him. I'm surprised I haven't seen somebody else commentate him. And I am also very surprised that I did not look him up, because I should have done that. But it looks like Lord is droning up a little bit. He's getting just to that point where he's going to have just almost perfect saturation. When you see him going back and forth a little bit, normally that's about when it's good. And it looks like there is a Zergling heading over here. Gonna scout the probe. A very good play here. Normally we see Zerg players just kind of ignore this, and this probe will sit here and make like a pylon in the back or in a certain area where he can warp in units outside of his base, or where he can scout a hatchery through the creep spread. It looks like KiWiKaKi is going to lose that probe. I'm surprised he did not pull it back to his base. Normally we'll see players have enough time to pull that back to his base. And KiWiKaKi is also going for warp gates and a sentry. So the sentry will be pretty much instrumental in being able to block off any kind of early Zergling attack. And I do not believe that KiWiKaKi saw that expansion. Let's take a look at this. At KiWiKaKi's view. He did not see that expansion yet, so he does not know if his opponent is going one base all in Zergling, one base all in Roach, or just expanding. And he really needs that sentry to be cautious, to block off his front door in case it is all in one base Roach, all in one base Zergling. So definitely a good decision there, going for that. And it looks like a few Zerglings are going to push up the ramp. They're going to be met by a Zealot with a Stalker behind it. Good positioning there. Those Zerglings are not going to get anything done, but they are going to be able to scout, and they are going to be able to see whenever KiWiKaKi sends anything out of his base. So that is awesome. For the Zerg player, you definitely want to have a vision on your opponent. And it looks like we're seeing a 2-gate, so it will be 3-gate now with 2 gas and a forge. So it looks like he's going for upgrades, which Zealots with attack upgrades are absolutely incredible against Zergling. Zealots alone are incredible against Zergling, but with that attack upgrade, they can just kill masses and masses of Zergling. It's nothing to them. And it looks like there is a Roach Warren, so maybe those upgrades will be good for Stalkers instead of Zealots, because Stalkers are a pretty good counter to Roach, even though Roach can hold off pretty well against them. And it looks like these gateways are heading into warp gate status, so he's going to have 3 of them now. And he's putting a pylon at the bottom of his ramp so he can bring in more units and expanding all at the same time. So I think he's kind of grasped the fact that Lord has really not that many units. He's gone for more of a macro-oriented style, and KiWiKaKi is going to take advantage of that. And since he does not have a massive army to push with, he is going to expand, which is definitely the best decision. And he finally did bring in a lot of gas. He did mine a lot of gas, and he was able to produce 3 more sentries, so these guys will definitely help. Even though he doesn't have that many really good fighting units like these Zealots and Stalkers, they will be able to do a ton of micro, and he could pretty much almost hold off this ramp indefinitely if he had to. But it looks like there's going to be a few Zerglings heading out. Not going to be that much with force fields and the fire from all these sentries and Zealots and the Stalker here. They'll definitely be able to hold that off. But worst case scenario, he picks a probe, but he will be able to scout, and that is probably the main purpose of these units, to see if KiWiKaKi is massing an army or if he is expanding, and he is of course expanding. So it looks like Lord is going to see this now. He's just taking a look around. Looks like he's going to bug the Nexus, and probably not going to be able to shoot it down, but definitely going to be able to annoy KiWiKaKi and consume some of that APM we talk about. Which APM is kind of, you know, you can think of it as maybe like a commodity. Like, they have a certain amount, and they have to allocate it effectively. But it looks like there are a few cannons, so good decision there. Those cannons going to keep these Zerglings off of the front door and later off of the probes. Also a pylon in the back so that he can put maybe more cannons back there. But let's take a look in Lord's base. The lair is almost finished, so this could lead to quite a few things. We could see Zergling, or not Zergling, sorry. We could see upgraded Roach, which upgraded Roach is pretty good against a number of things, especially Colossus. We could see Hydra, which Hydra is pretty good against Stalker. Also pretty good against those zealots, and we could also see Muta, which Muta is very good against the economy. Not a game-winning force, but they can do a ton of damage to the economy and push your opponent pretty much far behind you so that you can take that macro in, which I should probably have a tab up. I like to look at that production when I watch other people's casts, so I'll just leave that up for you guys for now. And it looks like there is a Hydra Den, so it looks like we're going to see a game-winning type force from Lord. But the real question is, how many will he have, and what will KiWiKaKi have to oppose it by the time he gets here? So hopefully KiWiKaKi goes Colossus out of just pure feeling and guessing. That would be cool for KiWiKaKi because he would definitely be able to hold off those Hydras with Colossus, because Colossus is just so awesome at chopping apart Hydras and Zerglings, which it looks like that's what his force is going to be. So I'm surprised KiWiKaKi hasn't scouted this yet. He has 3 gateways and an expansion and a forge, but he has not gone for anything really. There it is. There is the Stargate. So he hasn't gone for anything, any Robo, which really surprised me, but he's going for the Stargate without scouting, so this could hurt him because those Hydralisks are just so awesome against pretty much everything that can come out of that Stargate, except for maybe Phoenix. If Phoenix is microed correctly and you have enough of them, they can easily kill small groups of Hydra. They can pick off drones. They can pick off Overlords. They can just be so incredibly annoying. Void Ray, though, unless you have a lot of them, they will just be chewed apart by these Hydras, which he is not going for the Groove Spines, which when he gets 150 gas, he probably needs to get that if he's going to start going Hydra. But so far, I actually really like this guy's playstyle. Normally, when I see a player that I haven't seen before, it's kind of a shoddy playstyle, but I actually really like his. He is pretty much set up to fight off anything the Protoss could be going for right now. And KiWiKaKi really has a small force here, but so does the Zerg player. They're both going for a pretty macro-oriented build, but since the Zerg player did get that expansion earlier, he's been able to mass up a significantly larger army, and he should have backed these Zerglings off a little bit and let the Roaches just go for that. But let's take a look at upgrades, see what is here if there were any research for KiWiKaKi, and it looks like there weren't any. The Forge was just for cannons. So we're also going to see the Zerg player fall back to his base. Definitely a good idea to spread the creep out a little bit more. That will definitely help him in his next attack when he does probably move out. And it looks like there are also a few drones producing. So definitely want to drone up. He's got 2 Hydras on the way. So the Hydras are a great idea. You know, all he really saw was the Zealot. Both players are kind of blind right now. Neither of them are really scouting well, which I'm surprised we haven't seen one of these Overlords be morphed into an Overseer so that he could drop maybe a Changeling or maybe just do a Suicide Rush in. And there is the pylon from KiWiKaKi that he definitely needed. His opponent, however, does not have anything there. Maybe this Overlord can cover it a little bit, but there's really nothing there. It looks like the Void Ray is going to be heading out. He's going to pick off the Zone Watch Hour, which it may be just a better idea to just hide that Void Ray until he can get more, and it looks like there's a Robo facility definitely needed, but it looks like he may be just going for one. And it may have been better to hide it, like I said before, because now Lord will be able to pump out a lot of Hydras. He'll be able to counter that. And, you know, even a couple of Queens could kill a single Void Ray. So that Stargate really not paying off. Really a big waste of gas, if you ask me, especially with the Void Ray. And it looks like he's going for a Fleet Beacon. So Flux Veins are gone now. There's no way he can get those. So all this means is Carrier or Mothership. And I believe the last game I casted was KiWiKaKi, and he did do Mothership. So, I'm sorry if it wasn't, but I believe it was. And whoever it was, I believe it was KiWiKaKi, but whoever it was did an awesome job using Mass Recall. He just marched his army into the enemy's base, killed a bunch of stuff, and then by the time the Zerg's army had arrived, the massive Zerg army, he just Mass Recalled everything out, lost like 3 Stalkers, and killed the other guy's main almost completely. So Motherships can be used incredibly effective, especially if you do what people call the Archon Toilet Bowl, which is kind of impractical, but if you can pull it off, it works. So basically, you make a ton of High Templar, morph them into Archons, then you make yourself a nice little mothership, and you use that vortex to suck all those units in, all the enemy units in, and then you just dive in with all those Archons. You put a ton of them in there, and basically when everything is done and that vortex collapses, all those units come out, and the Archons are right on top of them with all that splash damage and the close-up damage, and they just kill the enemy so incredibly quickly. It is like close-range siege tanks or something. It's very hard to explain. And a lot of Zerg players do this with the creep, where there's not even a point except for lowering my FPS, apparently. But it looks like he's expanding the creep. Pretty good timing. We should see one going down again in just a second. And it looks like he did send a Zergling out here. He's definitely going to be able to scout that third expansion. But it looks like he's massing his army, so maybe it's time to move out for Lord, because KiWiKaKi really has nothing here. It would be a lot of force fields if they did engage, and that would be the only way that KiWiKaKi could really pull it off. But, you know, the Lord should have either taken the third or began to push right now, and it looks like he is going to do both of them. He's going to encounter this Void Ray, which is killing his creep, which is a very good use of the Void Ray. It may have just paid for itself, kind of, because those creep tumors are very essential. Looks like the Hydralisk are going to take the front, and it looks like that's all he sent out. He's leaving his roaches and most of his Hydras actually inside of his base. Looks like that was just to take out that Void Ray. And now would be a perfect time for Nidus Network or drop. And Day9 did talk about the Nidus Network in one of his most recent dailies. And it was actually a Fun Day Monday, which basically it's they do something ridiculous, kind of. He said you had to use Nidus Networks only to attack, and you had to use 2 of them at once at one point. And these players kind of did it very successfully, because when you have 2 of them coming up at once, they just confuse the enemy like crazy, especially if your enemy has gone macro. But that wouldn't be very applicable here. It would be more applicable to make maybe one or do an Overlord drop, which I'm surprised we see so many Overlord drops. But it looks like he is going to move out. He does have a ton of Overlords here, and I'm not sure if he has researched that drop. It looks like he is researching it right now, because he does already have speed, and it looks like there's roaches and Zerglings out front, so the Void Ray may be able to do a little bit of damage, and not picking off the Zerglings, doing a little bit of damage to them though. And it looks like KiWiKaKi is going to be rushing to place cannons now. You definitely don't want to do that right before a crisis. You want to have enough units to be able to stop it, and he does have a mothership almost done, so the timing of this mothership will be pretty critical to this battle. Looks like the Void Ray's out in front with the Observer. And Lord not really doing anything. He does have these Overlords here, and he could be supply blocked if these are taken out. And it looks like there's going to be a pretty good amount of force fields isolating a Roach and a Hydra. I'm not sure why KiWiKaKi didn't turn around to pick them up. And it looks like, if anything, he's going to be able to hold them off until these cannons come in, but maybe even until the mothership comes in, which it looks like it is about 3/4 done, and it is being chrono boosted, so it will finish a lot quicker than normal. And it looks like these Zerg units may be just waiting for the force fields, and it looks like he is going to make the good decision and actually retreat, because these units here, all these Stalkers, combined with the force field and the cannons that are coming in, would have definitely fought him off. And it looks like he did bring in a few more units now. This may be enough, but once that mothership is in, the cloaking will just do so awesome against these this unit's composition, especially if there was a Colossus on the way, which there is unfortunately not. Killing the Minx statue. Nobody likes Minx. Not even the Zerg, apparently. And it looks like he's just kind of sitting outside of the space, and good use of the Overlords to creep, you know, just giving that extra advantage. And it looks like the drop capability for the Overlords is about 3/4 done, and the mothership is about to spawn. So let's watch it warp in, and cloak everything, and lag me down to 1 frame per second. Ready? And wow, it actually did what I said it would. Lag me down to 2 frames per second. Maybe I will lower my graphics, but I do not want to do that again, because those casts just look so horrible. Maybe a little bit lower frames per second is doable if we can keep off of those low graphics. Or maybe I just need to clean my computer a little bit more. Maybe go back into CCleaner. But it looks like we are going to see KiWiKaKi push out. Maybe, I guess you could call it a counterattack, but not really, because he wasn't really attacked. He just killed 2 units. And it looks like there is quite a massive force here, and we do not see any Overseers coming in, so there is going to be no detection, and those units on the ground are just going to be able to rain fire on those Zerg units until this mothership can go down, which it does have quite a bit of life, so it will provide them with a lot of time, really, to fire on those Zerglings and those Hydras and those Roaches. Which it looks like he is researching Blink now. So Blink in conjunction with mass recall, that could be very odd. He could do quite a bit with that. He can move across this map so incredibly fast. And it looks like the drop capabilities for Overlords are done, those Vengeful Sacks. And it looks like these units are going to start piling into Overlords, and it looks like we will see a drive. So this mothership may not be able to reach the back of the base in time, and it looks like it may just end up being quick blink up to the ramp, and then sentries and mothership and zealots trying to catch up later. And it looks like the third base has just finished, and Lord is droning up there. But let's head back to this drop and watch this unfold. And this is going to be crazy. There's going to be a lot of units inside of the base of KiWiKaKi, and KiWiKaKi can see those units now. It looks like he's going to pull back into his main. Blink is done, but is he going to use it? He may have to split up his force with Blink just to get in, because this wall is so tight that maybe it would just be better to just take out these cybernetic sword. And it looks like these Overlords are just going to keep heading in now, finally dropping units. Lots of units piling out of those Overlords. You can see the bars on top of them just completely disappearing as units pile out of them. And it looks like the mothership is going to be here, so this may be a bad move for Lord, because now all his units are trapped inside the base, and KiWiKaKi was able to move up to the ramp with the Overlord, with the mothership, and keep his units together. And it looks like he may lose a few gateways, but Overseer's coming in now. He needs to kill these if he wants his units to hold this advantage. That is a ton of gas wasted on Overlords, so if he picks those off, that would definitely be a bonus. Looks like a mothership moving back now about halfway through shields, and the stalkers are heading forward. There's lots of force fields. Force fields are separating his force from his gateways, though, which is the gateways are what he really needs to protect. Lots more stalkers coming in, maybe the last warp in for some of these gateways, and it looks like his stalkers are in cloak now, and the overseers are almost completed. There is a lot of them, so we will have a lot of them to shoot down if they are completed, and it looks like there will be in just a second. And these stalkers doing a ton of damage, though, and it looks like there is the vortex maybe going to suck in all of those overseers. And it looks like they're not. They are going to suck in a few of those hydras, though. Maybe it would be a good idea for KiWiKaKi to just pile in there with all those units so that he could take them out. But then again, standing back is a little bit better for stalkers, as they are range units. And it looks like Lord is going to take a few units with him and get his units out of this base, his remaining Overlords, which he did not supply block himself. He made quite a large surplus back at his base. Looks like this Void Ray is heading around here, maybe trying to cause some carnage. And it looks like another forge is also coming in. I'm not sure. There it is. Another forge is coming in, and it looks like it is going to be able to upgrade KiWiKaKi's units. But inside the base, there is a pretty big battle going on. Looks like there may be a few sentries lost, and it looks like KiWiKaKi is just trying to pick off these Overlords, trying to pick off these Hydras, and trying to pick off the Overseers most of all, because those did cost extra gas to produce. And it looks like this one may escape. No, it did not, and all those units are going down. Let's check back with Lord and see if he is supply blocked. He is not, but he is not at 200 supply like he was before. And KiWiKaKi doing a good job here. Void Ray at level 2, which really means nothing except for he's closer to level 3, attacking this extractor, and it looks like he may be able to shoot it down. Here comes the queen to chase him away. He may be able to pick the queen off, but first Hydra arriving. Maybe just a best opportunity for him to just try and pick off the queen. And it looks like this Hydra and this queen are able to shoot down this Void Ray with absolutely no problem, and the queen is actually even going to survive. And taking a look at Lord's base, he is producing both the ranged weapons and the ground armor upgrades, along with the air weapons upgrades. So I do not see any mutas on the field for him yet. Let's take a look at his unit stab. Yeah, there are no flying units. I'm not sure why he is going for that. Maybe a misclick, but I doubt it, because normally we'll see him see players like this where they get to this point just get kind of frustrated and start bringing in mutas to do that supply harass. And also, I forgot to mention this when I was staring at the forge, but KiWiKaKi just finished his Nexus, and it looks like he's bringing in some cannons now, going to be able to defend that, and also going to be able to bring a lot of probes down here to start his economy up. Feeling very confident, moving out, leaving his mothership behind, which, where did it go? I wonder if those Hydras picked it off. Take a look at the unit tab. No, it is still alive, but it is just not with his units. Where did this guy go? I do not know where this mothership is. It is probably going somewhere to do an epic mass recall that I'm going to miss. But let's take a look back at the units. Lots of stalkers moving across the field, just blinking forward, trying to get that advantage. He needs to be careful not to use that blink too much. Save it for battle. And it looks like he is going to take advantage of this this weakly defended expansion, and he is going to be able to kill this third. Probably he's probably just going to swoop right in here, go for the queen, and then just take out this hatchery with no problems. But it looks like he is actually going to attack the fourth base, which it may have been a better idea just to go to the third, because now those units will arrive and they will be able to protect him, to protect the third, I mean. Looks Looks like a few more units of producing a few more drones and Zerglings, and it looks like he is just going to move in. He needs to micro these Stalkers forward. Maybe a blink forward would be awesome, but he is out of blink currently. It is recharging. He should have moved forward. He definitely would have been able to pick this off if he had been on top of it, and it looks like he's just going to blink away. So blink is just awesome. When you have that blink, it just allows your force so much more freedom. In pretty much any RTS game, with that extra movement, they can get into battle and get out of battle a lot quicker, especially when they're strong units like that. Stalkers are just really awesome for Protoss because they are incredibly mobile, and they are also very good. Which, if you look at the units for the other races, they're not as good, the mobile units. Like, a Zergling doesn't compare to a Stalker, but, you know, they are very useful, I would say. So I'm not calling imbalance or anything, but I'm just pointing out how awesome Stalkers are as mobile units. So it looks like he did go to that one weapons upgrade, and he left it there. But let's take a look in his base. There is no infestor den popping up, and there is just a lair, and it looks like KiWiKaKi is going to kill this expansion again. But he does have corruptors, and normally when your enemy is all ground, you want corruptors to make broodlords, but he is not taking up to broodlord at all. So what are you doing? That's my question. Maybe he is preparing for Colossus, which would make very much sense in this situation, but there are none of them, and it looks like there is that hidden mothership just hiding at this expansion, going to cloak it. Not sure how effective that is, but maybe it's good, and it looks like all these Stalkers are blinking, and it looks like they're going to get a few drone kills at least. Looks like they're probably going to kill the Queen, but they are being surrounded now. Lots of Zerglings on top of them. Zerglings do terrible, terrible damage against Stalkers, and it looks like a lot of Roaches are moving forward now. The Corruptors are just kind of sitting there. The Overseers are there just in case, and it looks like there is a mass recall, and that is what I was talking about, where he moves in, he gets absolutely surrounded, it looks like he should be owned, and then he just moves all of his units out. And normally in StarCraft 1, when we had that recall with the Arbiter, that was used to bring units into battle. Very rarely used to bring them out from the games I have seen of StarCraft 1. And this type of play in StarCraft 2 is just awesome. Running in and then pulling your units out very quickly. Your enemy is not able to attack you, and you are able to recover all of those units that you would have otherwise lost. Look at that. Fog of War not revealing that little patch of creep there. So, on King's side, was it King? Lord is similar to King. It's that AP European history class is getting to me now. And it looks like there is the infestation pit, so we should see tech towards broodlords, which, as he saw that there were no Colossus, that should have been a pretty good indicator for him that broodlords would definitely be a good idea rather than just wasting those corruptors, unless he wanted to use them for corrupt, which is more powerful than they give it credit for, but not as useful as a broodlord. Now let me get a drink here. And there's that hive that you have been staring at while I was gulping down some Arizona tea. Good stuff there. And it looks like KiWiKaKi does have quite a few gateways now. I did not comment on this earlier, but he does have quite a few, and he is also transferring a lot of probes down to this third. Looks like they are just the ones in the main that got left behind after his mineral patch was completely mined out. So I'm surprised we haven't, and there it is actually. He is taking a fourth now and covering it with cannons, so that will be very effective against any type of Zerg harass. But my problem is a run-by. A run-by with Zerglings could get behind here and could do a lot of damage to the probes. And now that the harass is gone, Lord is going to be able to go for his fourth also. But that harass was very vital because KiWiKaKi is now pretty much even with him. Even though KiWiKaKi does have a little bit for his fourth, Zerg definitely wants to be ahead most of the time with expansions. So that was very good by KiWiKaKi. Definitely great use. He almost killed this, or he actually did. Sorry, he did kill this, and it looks like that infestation pit is actually going to be off the creep in just a second here, unless this hatchery can get in and spawn some more creep. But it is off the creep, and then it will start bleeding, and it will eventually die. There it is, off the creep, but it is not bleeding. Maybe this is an invincible infestation pit. Whatever. Who cares? I just wanted to see some blood. But it looks like there is quite a few Zerg units moving across the map now, and we should see broodlords pretty soon, as the hive, not pretty soon, but they will be here in a while. The hive is just about 3/4 done, if you cannot see that production bar. But it looks like we're seeing a lot of Zerglings move forward now, a few roaches just hanging back. Along with the Hydralisk, and it looks like he is going to do exactly what I said I feared, and a run-by is coming up. Lots of gateways in front of the cannons is definitely awesome, but it looks like he may just go, oh no, I'm going to lose way too many Zerglings doing this, and he is going to falling back to his main. It looks like he does have a little bit of creep spread, but I could definitely see more because I have to say that Rhett is one of my favorite players just because he pretty much revolutionized Creeps Red, and he is just so awesome at it. And most of the times when players try and copy him, they do way too much. They throw a lot of them down, and it, you know, just becomes overkill. But he had that perfect symbiosis of not too many, not too little, and just completely moving the creep forward. And there are High Templars here, and it looks like they do have Psystorm resorts. I'm sorry I missed that, and probably the Kydarian amulet too, little amulet on that headdress. So what a weird little picture. But it looks like it is done, so that'll definitely be able to do a ton of damage to these Zerglings, which is what he saw at his base. So it looks like he did go for a counter just for that, and pretty much Zerg units just pretty much moving around right now, getting into position to intercept this after seeing that Zergling being killed at the Xel'Naga Watchtower. High Templars are staying in the back. That's definitely where you want them. Don't want them in the front, like I've seen so many Protoss players do, trying to storm, just rushing them forward. Is he going to kill that Minx statue? He may do it just to show the Zerg player that both can kill that. And it looks like the units are going to meet now, and it looks like these Stalkers are going to fall back. Maybe I'm not sure why they didn't turn around and attack. They could have done a pretty good amount of damage, especially with these High Templars here baiting in those units. He could have done so much, but what is his army missing? I would have to say there are two vital components that his army is missing. It looks like he's just going to bring all those units out of there and into the main of Lord, and this could be very vital, but his army is I'll tell you that later. It looks like I'm going to have to cast his battle for now. Looks like he did go for an Evo Chamber, and these two are almost done, so those level 2 weapons could be almost vital in this battle. And it looks like the Corruptors are heading straight for the Mothership. Mothership needs to fall back if it wants to live, but it looks like it is going to be pick off regardless. Lots of Zerglings heading into the space now, and it looks like they are going to get a pretty good surround coming up here, doing a lot of damage to these Stalkers. There's the Storm. Storm's definitely needed even before that. Not too many units under it, though. Looks like there are a lot of High Templar being shot at by these Zerglings, or being stabbed by these Zerglings' little arms. Looks like there is a lot of Stalker fire going down now. He definitely needs to focus on those roaches. Blinking back the damaged units definitely needs to do that, even though it looks like those units are pretty good in health, and it looks like he is going to lose all of his Stalkers at this point. Lots of Storms. Storms are definitely awesome against Hydras, and not so much roaches, but awesome against Hydras. He definitely needs to make sure he uses all the Storms he can before this army is going down, and it looks like those Storms may actually make the difference, as the Zerg player does have higher upgrades. But with those Storms on the Hydras, he's just able to do so much damage. Now there's just a few Roaches. The Roaches need to be killed by the Stalkers. A Blink play could be awesome, maybe a little bit of micro help there, but it looks like the Stalkers are going to eat it. If not now, they will die when more units arrive for Lord, which Lord is producing 8 more Hydras and 10 more Roaches, which are almost completed, and lots more Storms going down on top of those units, and even under the air units, which is where you need to put them, actually under the air units. And it looks like he's just going to try and pick off Corruptors, so Corruptor is very good against the Mothership, but I don't know if Lord should have really gone for this kind of expense just to kill a Mothership. And it looks like there is going to be a fungal growth on top of these units, maybe a waste of a fungal growth, and it looks like he's going to put that Infestor inside of that Overlord, and maybe KiWiKaKi should kill that Overlord. That would be really cool. But it looks like even the drones are attacking now, all 3 of them, and it looks like there's just going to be enough Roaches here to overtake these units. Roaches on a bad spawn moving forward, and it looks like he's finally going to stop them, and it looks like they are going to be able to take apart these Stalkers. Hydra's also coming in off that spawn point, probably to like right about here. Looks like he is going to have to manually divert them, and he is going to kill those Stalkers finally. So, what I was going to say before that all went down was KiWiKaKi is missing 2 very important things in his army, especially when you're going against Hydra and Zergling, which is Zealots, which is awesome for keeping those Zerglings off of the Stalkers, and more importantly, Colossus, which is just so epic at destroying Hydra and Zergling, but they are countered by the Corruptor very well. So, maybe a good decision not to go to Colossus right now, but he could definitely use some Zealots. And I'm starting to wonder how long this game is. I did not look at it, and Fraps may be using my whole hard drive right now, which could be very bad. So, it looks like I'm just going to have to hope, and it looks like there is the 5th base for KiWiKaKi. So this is what is great about Metalopolis. Whenever there is a match, there is always a pretty even divide in the map. Normally you see players going like this, like they are, or pretty much along the bottom and top, and maybe even splitting towards the middle and taking these high yields, which it looks like neither player is really in a position to defend a high yield. but they could use them later if they did get a little advantage. A lot of players, when they're new, have that problem of being a little bit too pushy, and sometimes it's just best to push forward when you do have the superior force, damage your opponent, fall back, and make a high yield expansion. And whose dog is this? This is a wolf statue, but Minx does not have a dog, I do not think, and that collar is very spiky. So it looks like there are a ton of High Templars, and instead of Zealots, he's just made a ton of them. Getting a drink there, and it looks like he is pushing forward, and those Templars will do a good amount of damage to maybe the Infestor and the Hydra, but they will not be able to do too much damage to those rushes, and he did kill the Minx statue. But the thing is really here, there's going to be a fungal growth on top of these units, and they can no longer blink due to the newest patch, and it looks like he's just going to blink away there before the fungal growth went down. But as I was seeing, the fungal growth, now when your Stalkers are fungal growth, since the new patch, they cannot blink away to safety. They are stuck there, which I believe that's how it should have been the whole time, because being able to escape with that, fungal growth on you is kind of dumb, as far as my opinion goes. And it looks like there is going to be a few Broodlords. Looks like there is going to be 5 of them, 6 and 7, spawning in now, along with some Overseers moving forward, and there is nothing to kill this except for Stalkers, which he needs to get those Stalkers back across the map. If he had a Mothership right now, he could mass recall them. It looks like the Mothership is going to be done in a second, and that is going to be pretty much the best method of bringing those units back, almost with that mass recall, but it will not be ready, and it looks like it may be just a base trade type of situation, but there are a lot of units here ready to defend, and those Broodlords moving forward right now, and it looks like they are just going to go for pylons. And with that Contaminate, it looks like his main motive is to shut down all these gateways, which all he has to do is kill pretty much, it looks like 3 pylons, and he's shut down 5 gateways, which KiWiKaKi, I'm not sure how many he has. It looks like he has 14, so that will not be that big of a dent. But it looks like there is a big fight here, and he did finally bring in those Zealots. Zealots being fungal growth, so that's awesome for Lord. He definitely needs that, because when they are fungal growth, they are pretty much useless, and it looks like he's not going to have enough energy to do another fungal growth. So this will be a pretty balanced fight. And he is going to, I guess, let those Zealots finish, and it looks like these units are going to turn around. Lots of Spine Crawlers here. Definitely doesn't want to be sandwiched between the Spine Crawlers and all these Zerg units. Lots of Storms going on top of them. Meanwhile, in KiWiKaKi's base, there is a lot of stuff being destroyed, but back to the battle right now. Looks like the Zealots are finally defunct growth, and it looks like they're going to head back. Lots more High Templars arriving on the front. Looks like he's just going straight for the Spine Crawlers. These units behind him will definitely be able to destroy him, though. This is a bad decision. He needs to turn around and fight. He's got his High Templars pretty much facing towards Lord's units. He needs to use the energy on them, or get them out of here at least. And there are the Storms doing a ton of damage to these Hydralisks. Looks like the Stalkers are going to blink back. Very vital there. Doing a lot of damage again with that Storm, but he needs to get one on top of these units. Perfect placement on that Storm. Looks like he may do a little bit of damage to his Stalker, but it looks like he is going to force the Zerg retreat, and he may be able to take the 4th or 3rd base of this Zerg player. Looks like he is actually going to chase him. Not really good idea, but he does need to get back to his main, because his main is being almost completely destroyed. There are so many buildings going down right now. Looks like he has lost power to those 5 gateways. The Mothership is finally here, though. The Mothership can do mass recall and can do a lot of damage to these Broodlords, and there is no air cover except for 1 Corruptor, so the Mothership is going to pretty much be able to do the damage on its own. Looks like he's going to go straight for these Overseers, which he needs to kill them before he brings in a mass recall, which, let's take a look. He doesn't even have enough energy for mass recall, just sending the Mothership in to fight on her own, and it looks like the 4th base is going down too now, but a lot of units moving in behind him. He needs to use these Storms correctly to kill them. Oh my god, there's a lot going on now. Let's check on the Mothership right now. Mothership is in good condition, and it looks like it is shooting down units very effectively. Looks like KiWiKaKi is going to fall back a little bit. He needs to be firing on these units, so definitely need to get away from those Spine Crawlers. Looks like it may be just his best bet to fall back as much as he can, and then blink down the cliff maybe. But not a good situation for him. Looks like he's going to lose all his Stalkers, so I'm just going to head back to his base. Lots of Stalkers warping in. Looks like they're just going to be completely owned by all of these Broodlords. Just getting a ton of kills on top of these Stalkers, which are almost able to do nothing. Looks like they may take out 1 Broodlord, but still not going to be enough. Looks like they are actually firing at Broodlings, which that is definitely not what you want to do. And it looks like he could have done better just shooting down Corruptors. But let's take a look at production. There are 4 more Corruptors, so those will be able to take down the Mothership, because the Mothership doesn't do that much damage on its own. Why isn't there a Phoenix producing? There should be a Phoenix producing, and he definitely needs more Stalkers on the field if he wants to be able to deal with this. Lots of High Templars coming in. High Templars could be good against these Broodlords, but he still needs those Stalkers to kill them, and it looks like his Mothership is going to lose shields now. So when those 4 Corruptors do finish spawning in and they do arrive, they will be able to take out that Mothership. Looks like he is actually going to fall back with it. He has enough now for a mass recall, but there are no units to recall. Looks like he is also down to 10 gateways, -1 for this unpowered gateway, so he is at 9 gateways, not going to be able to bring in as many stalkers as you would have liked, and it looks like the fleet beacon is going to go down, probably along with this Stargate here. So all we could really see KiWiKaKi do with this mothership is just cloak stuff, because there are no overseers. He could cloak and protect the buildings that he really needed, but it looks like he does have the probes are retreating. They are just completely evacuating. It looks like these cannons are going to do quite a bit of damage. If he had the mothership over them, cloaking them, that is where he needs to be right now. He should turn that mothership around, and he could do so much better if he was just hiding over those pylons, covering them. But it looks like the Broodlords are just going to use their range advantage and just fall back and shoot at the cannons, which this is where the mothership would have been so useful, because the cannons could have protected it from corruptors, and it could have protected the cannons from Broodlords. That would have been perfectly symbiotic. But looks like there are a lot of roaches heading out now, so KiWiKaKi could have used a little bit of air now, but he does not really have anything to bring that air in. Looks like he's going to make another Temple Archives, bringing in more stalkers. Where do these units go? He may be bringing them in here, but look at all these overlords moving forward now. Looks like he may be preparing to do a kind of drop soon. But Lord is doing a great job using these Broodlords to kill all these cannons. Looks like he is also going to pick down this the Citadel, or the Twilight Council. Citadel, wow, isn't that StarCraft 1? But he is going to pick down the Twilight Council. He's also going to take out these Photon Cannons. Photon Cannons doing a little bit of damage to the Overlords and the Broodlings, but not really anything beyond superficial. And all these units are going to move in now. Looks like this could be GG for KiWiKaKi, but let's take a look at KiWiKaKi's base. He is bringing in 7 more gateways, so he is pretty much trying to salvage what he has, which all he really... Oh my god. Could this be the famed Archon toilet? I swear to you, I did not watch this game before I casted it. That would be incredibly epic if he did an Archon toilet. And it looks like it may be his only chance. He is bringing back in that Temple Archives, so he could use that. It will be spawning in about the same time as all of his gateways, and he could use that to make more Archons for the Archon Toilet Bowl. So, that would be incredibly epic, because I was on the Koth channel last night doing some live casts, and we actually did start talking about a Mothership Toilet Bowl. So, I guess this could be a shout out to the Koth players that I play with all the time. So, it looks like he does only have 4 of them, so it will not be a full Archon Toilet Bowl. Maybe an Archon Power Flush, I do not know. But it looks like all these units are going to move out now, and the Zerg is also researching a ton of upgrades. Let me take a drink before this starts. And that is the last of my tea. I will be drinking a Monster Energy tomorrow night. That will be a good cast. And it looks like the Stalkers are probably going to move forward soon. Maybe he's keeping them back. I do not see any more Archons or any more units whatsoever being produced for KiWiKaKi. He does have quite a bit of money. He could be bringing in 27 Zealots, like 20 Stalkers, probably more than that. And it looks like we're just going to see Lord just completely going at the base of KiWiKaKi, and he does have so many Broodlords now. This is pretty much GG. KiWiKaKi really cannot do anything, and it looks like he is going to bring in Stalkers, so no Archon Toilet Bowl probably. What a shame. But he does have a few more Templars. Make them into Archons, please. See, these pro players, they play to win, not to entertain us, so that sucks. But it looks like this game is actually very entertaining so far, and it is kind of reminding me of a game we played on Koth the other night where we had one player almost able to come back, but it looks like he is supply blocked. That is why he is not bringing any more units. He definitely needs more pylons. He does have 4 of them producing, but it will not be in time because this force is heading into his base right now. It looks like they're going to kill the Mink statue, maybe. That would be quite odd. Oh, it is actually Mink stock. It looks like they're heading up now, mothership cover, though there are 2 observers, or 2 overseers here. And if he could kill those 2 overseers and then get rid of the anti-air, the mothership actually could be incredibly effective. And it looks like there is the vortex and sucking in all those Broodlords pretty much. So now if the Stalkers can take this out, we could see a miniature Archon Toilet Bowl. Looks like all those units are going to dive in. Send your Archons forward. Mothership going down. No! All those units are going to dive in. Send the Archons in. Do it! KiWiKaKi, you disappoint me. Looks like he's just going to hang back. He needs to probably get those Archons in the front load. Looks like 1 is going to dive in. So, two diving in. And it looks like he's blinking his Stalkers away. Send the 2 others in. It look like that's awesome. A miniature Archon Toilet Bowl gonna keep the Stalkers back. And it looks like here they come. They're doing so much damage, so effective. Just so awesome. And it looks like there are a few storms on top of these units now. And these Stalkers may actually be able to clean this up a little bit. But it looks like there's not going to be enough of them. So it looks like this game is actually going to go to Lord. but still not sure. These stalkers are doing a ton of damage. They do have 3 and 1 opposed to his enemies 2 and 2, and it looks like he's going to be able to bring in more units, a ton of gateways, just bring in a lot of stalkers, and he's actually going to chase this away. How amazing is that? Oh my god, this is the best game ever. This is great. I'm so glad I decided to cast this one rather than one I had saved up from Koth, which those games are good, but this is just amazing. And it looks like these units are just going to sit here. Maybe best to just unburrow them and try and get as much as you can. But while that battle was going on, there was quite a bit of macro going on in the favor of Lord. Actually, if we take a look at income, it's probably about even. Actually, whoa, what a surprise. Going to KiWiKaKi because he is up by 16 harvesters. And they are, sorry, I neglected to say this, but they are both on 3 mining bases. And it may be the best decision of Lord to go for his high yield because it is fairly yes, there it is. He's actually ringing the hatchery right when I said, oh crap, just spilled tea on my mouse. Kind of going to clean this off, but keep casting, and my mouse pad is going to go on the ground. It's probably going to be all sticky when I pick it back up, but if my mouse dies, I'm sorry. I will use the arrow keys because this cast is not going to stop. It is perfect. So it looks like these roaches are going to be destroyed, and lots of stalkers here, but it looks like he did back them up with a few hydralisks and